Oh,
Thanks for joining us once again, Coach.
hey guys, how's it going?
Hi, Charlie. How are you?
Oh, good. Just let me hear some host has spotlighted your video. Would you like to unmute microphone? Unmute myself. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah, I think we're all good if we want to open it up for questions for Coach Partridge.
All right, fire away, guys.
Charlie, I'm just wondering, what do you think is Patrick Jones' ceiling as far as his productivity going down in the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I really think, Jerry, he's getting better every week. So I still think there's room for him to grow. There's things we're working on every day, from a technique standpoint. So I still think his ceiling is higher, and I love, honestly, how coachable he is, how he really strains to get better. That's why I still think he's got a ways to go in terms of what he's going to be able to accomplish this year. Now, on any given game, what they do in terms of schematics and how much production he gets will certainly vary, but just in the level of his play, it's exciting because he still has room to grow.
What's he like in the room with the other guys when you're watching video?
Yeah, he's really serious. He's not a guy that, a lot of guys are looser in meeting time, and are have as much fun with each other, which is fine. I mean, our meeting rooms are designed in a way where there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of conversation. But if conversations that are happening go off track, the thing I can count Pat is so serious, he's quick to shut that down before it becomes a distraction, which is great. He's extremely serious. He wants to be coached. He's fun to be around. He's operating at a really high level right now with regards to his own personal development.
Charlie, on Patrick, I guess he had 3 sacks this past weekend. He had 3 sacks a couple of weeks ago. I remember even the Duke game last year, it seemed like he just popped off and was able to, force a couple of fumbles. Is there just like a zone that he gets in certain games? Obviously, he's just a talented guy, but is there a zone that sometimes he just clicks into and it's just kind of really difficult to stop him?
Well, there's so many factors, right? I mean, certainly there's games the guys are going to reach that zone that you're talking about, and he does tend to get into that zone at times. Sometimes it's what is the offense and what are they doing and how much are they willing to throw it? Are they willing to put him one-on-one at times, which – with 17 on the other side and our guys inside doing a solid job of pressing the pocket, it gets harder to double team one guy versus the other. Otherwise, they're getting into 2- and 3-man routes, which that certainly helps the back end also. But there's no doubt it's a combination of him being in his zone and, what is the offense trying to do against us? I think about that Duke game last year, they were running pretty significant amount of one back, no tight ends, and some empty stuff, which put him in a one-on-one situation. And yeah, Jalen producing well at that time also. So it's a combination of a lot of factors, but he's finding that zone weekly right now, without a doubt.
Charlie, you hit on it. Obviously, your neighbors have Watt and Dupree and working in concert. How much is what his success is because of Weaver on the other side, and vice versa?
It's a lot. It's it's interesting. We had a chance to spend some time with those guys next door with Coach Tomlin, just to talk about during the crazy time when we were all Zooming and just to talk some scheme. And the conversation came up, hey, what are some of your favorite pass rush games, which is when guys are twisting and things like that. And one of the things he said was to make sure I do everything I can to get, Hayward and or Dupree and or Watt one-on-one opportunities. And there's no doubt that with those guys coming from either side, it really makes it hard for other teams to double team because you can feel it, right? I mean, Weaver has a very productive game, and then Pat has one, and then there's a game where both of them are producing. There's no doubt that's having a huge impact, and also our secondary. I mean, there's some things, that great play that Weaver made where he took the ball. There were some things going on in the secondary that we're really proud of. There were some things happening disguise-wise that made him clutch it for an extra second, and we've obviously made a great play when he pressed that tackle into him and took the ball. But there were some things in the back end that's helping those guys also.
Charlie, was that, excuse me, that Zoom conversation you said about talking about when you were talking to the Steelers guys about Watt and Dupree and whatnot. Was that with Tomlin or was that with
It was with Coach Tomlin. Yep.
Okay.
Charlie, I want to ask you about a guy who's been, I guess, pretty far on the radar, but got a little bit of playing time last week. Deandre Jules. We haven't seen much of him at all. Just what have you seen from him that made him kind of the next guy in line to get that opportunity?
He's doing a great job in practice, just in terms of getting, coach's phrase, 3% better each day. He's working really, really hard to not only do the right things, but to get as far as, his assignments, but he's working really hard on his technique and working really hard to finish drills and any given play at an extremely high level. Combination of those three things, if you're able to execute, play with some technique, and play really, really hard, you're going to be able to climb within our room. And he's also blessed with some talent. So as he's put those three things together at a little bit higher level, it got him the opportunity to get a handful of reps on Saturday. And what was fun for me was when he went in, when I circled his number on our whiteboard on the sideline to really indicate that he was about to go in, the true joy from the rest of the group for him to get out there and get an opportunity to play was fun to see, because all the guys in the room see how hard he's working also, and got a chance to get out there on game day, which is fun for our guys to see the young guys growing up, kind of behind them as they're having good season.
I assume he started the year on the scout team. Was there anything that he did during that time that stood out to you?
Well, obviously I don't get a chance to see a ton of the scout team when they're down there going against our offense, but I get a chance to work with them during individual, technique training periods, get a chance on some of the crossover stuff against our offense to see him. But the compliments that he was getting from the offensive coaches on a daily basis was borderline overwhelming, talking about how hard he was working, how hard he was to block. And it was getting, more pronounced every single week. And then, gave him a couple opportunities in practice that he took advantage of, and they just kind of built from there. I'm proud of him because, again, you guys heard me say this a million times. He's doing a better job handling in business off the field. So he comes to practice with a clearer mind. I'm not, on his case about being out of whack with schedule or something like that. And then it's funny how that clears the smoke, so to speak, and allows him to be more productive in practice and then lead to an opportunity on game day.
Charlie, are you looking forward to getting back down to South Florida? And obviously, with the with COVID and you say non-recruiting, you haven't been able to get down there, right? I'm assuming for any scouting with prospects in a long time.
Sure. It's my childhood home, right? I always enjoy going back there, and I hate that I never got a chance to be a part of a game as a coach in the Orange Bowl, because that's what I grew up watching the Hurricanes be a part of. But yeah, it's home. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see my dad because of everything going on. If I am able to see him, it'll probably be in the parking lot of the hotel at about 10 feet. But I hope I get a chance to see him. But yeah, it's always great to get back to my childhood home, and I'm looking forward to playing the Hurricanes. I always look forward to this game.
Charlie, are these developing back into the Hurricanes you remember as far as talent and speed and some of the things they have going on?
Yeah, I believe they are. And, I'll give Manny a ton of credit. I think Manny's doing a heck of a job of putting some things in play that make sense for what they're able to recruit. They're building their team on speed, right? They've done well defensively in recent times. And now they've got Rhett there and Garen Justice, who we work together at Florida Atlantic, their O-line coach, who does a great job with that O-line. But the tempo and the way they're getting the ball in the hands of guys on the edge with speed really fits what they're going to be able to build. And I think because of that, you're feeling the Hurricanes emerge as a team that is going to be a power player nationally. So I think Manny and those guys are doing a great job, and we have a tremendous challenge ahead of us on Saturday.
Charlie, you've been a head coach. What do you say to your kids when they're hit with 2 1-point losses 2 weeks in a row?
It's every cliche you can imagine. The reality is cliches become so for a reason. It's what I'm about to say. It's be where your feet are. It's 1-0. It's we got to put the last one behind us and focus on having a great Tuesday. I felt like the kids did that. Sunday is always the toughest day because that's when you really put that game to rest. You put that game to bed, and try and learn from what you see on film. And it's true, Jerry, as you know, I mean, to a big win too. I mean, sometimes it's challenging putting a big win behind you, but 2 1-point losses are certainly challenging. But the best chance you have as an adult or as a young man coming through college is to just be where you are. Just plant yourself here, focus on what we're doing right now, set all that stuff aside, because if it's continually in your mind, then you're not going to be able to focus on what's happening, and it's all going to just, exponentially grow upon each other. And I felt like the kids did a great job of that today. I think we had a heck of a practice. So I'm excited about what we did today. And that's the best way, is just focus on what is happening right in front of your face.
Charlie, I guess on that, how have you seen kind of this team, in the days after the game? Obviously he got you guys to overtime, but to come around Kess, given kind of the ending of the game.
Yeah, I tell you what, I went over to hug Kess when we got into the locker room. I didn't get a chance to get him after the game because of, all that happens after a game. And then I went to seek him out in the locker room, and it took me a while to get to him because the amount of our players that were hugging him, saying how much they believe in him, saying how much we have your back, that you didn't let us down, was striking. I don't know that I've ever seen something to that degree in that moment. And Kess crushed the ball today in practice, right? So I think it's going to be a lot harder if those guys don't respond with that in the locker room the way they did, than if it had gone another route. I mean, it says a lot to the kind of kids we have in our locker room that they would back him after that. They understand that wasn't the only play that made the difference. It's the way in a 1-point loss, you always hear coaches say one play here, one play there, and you could say that on all 3 phases of the game. And when you walk in the locker room and see how passionately our kids were supporting Kess, you had a feeling that the majority of our football team truly understood that any of the 3 phases could have had an impact that would have gotten us the victory.
Any final questions for Coach?
Yeah, sorry. On a different note, I meant to follow up on this earlier, Charlie. But,
okay.
With the South Florida guys, when you guys are going down to this game, are they kind of more excited? Do you get that sense at all that the guys on this roster are excited to go down and play in Miami?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you guys have been around enough South Florida guys over the years to know the pride they take in this game, to know how many players they know on the opposite roster. On Sunday, we tend to wrap up our game, and then we spend a little bit of time kind of talking a little bit about the personnel of the next opponent and listening to Kalijah fire off about all the different guys on the offense and what he knows about this guy and that guy and all those things. You can just feel his excitement on another level already on Sunday night. And that goes true for Weaver. It goes true for all those guys from down there. But there's no question. Anytime you get a chance to go back to your home when it's that far away, it's a little different this year because of the whole limited crowd in there. But I don't think it reduces the excitement very much because you definitely feel those guys and their pride in South Florida and going to go back home and show something to their people and honestly show something to this opponent on Saturday afternoon against the Hurricanes.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
So I'm talking to all these guys here.
Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Okay, I got my shoes up here. Does this button tell me? Only 4 people?
No, there's a little bit more than that.
Well, all I see is 4. Okay.
We'll open up for questions for Coach Salem.
None?
Coach-
You're good.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Tim, I was going to ask, Danny Marega, where have you kind of seen him grow since he entered this program, and where do you kind of hope to see him develop a little bit here in the next few games and season?
Yeah, well, he's had a chance to play a lot more every week. Number of reps and games have gone up, and obviously when Lucas Kroll, went down, I guess kind of another tight end backup role switch for us. So he got a number of reps in. He's played very hard. I think his last 2 weeks have been by far his most aggressive of playing and finishing, and he's getting a comfort zone every day to all the different personnel groupings and, what we have for playing. So, we need everybody. So whether you're a fifth stringer, a walk-on, whoever, or the back half of football season, you're counting on everyone. So, we got to count on him too.
Tim, how challenging is it for a guy like Grant to go from tight end to tackle and back to tight end? Is that a tough adjustment?
Well, I think number one, he's a very sharp kid, got great demeanor, very disciplined kid. So when he did switch positions, obviously he gained weight because he'd eat that extra hamburger. And then, now he's back to tight ends. So now he's back to dieting. But smart kid, he really had remembered most of the offense. So it wasn't like he had to relearn and, rethink. And that just was a matter, I think, initially when he came back, it was just the extra running in practice. So now he's kind of back into, quote, a game shape for a tight end. He's no longer a tackle. And he, again, played, better this past week. He was in on 21 snaps. So, again, we're counting on him as we make this, last season push through October, November.
And Tim, now that these guys are, experienced a little bit more, going into their sixth game, do you expect the tight end, whoever it is, to be more involved in the offense going forward?
Well, I guess good question. With you say offense involved, when pass play A gets called, whatever the progression's quarterback is, whether the tight end's first or whether the tight end's fifth in the progression, you got to be, run around and be ready for the ball. So, obviously Jordan, Addison's done a nice job, made some big plays for us. And as we've just gone through the situations that, the tight end has had chances. Every tight end, like most players, wish you'd have 50 passes come to you every game, but that's not the case. You've got a game plan, trying to execute, per play, per series, per quarter to win the game. And, when their numbers are being called, obviously it's gonna be time to, answer the phone and go. So there's still plenty of football left for us to get some, stats, I guess people say, to, for the team to help us win.
Tim, Lucas is obviously a pretty unique athlete in his size and strength and speed. Has there been stuff that you intended to do coming into this year with him that you've just not been able to do since you lost him?
Yeah, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, Lucas is a pretty unique athlete in terms of his size and speed. Has there been stuff that you put in sort of specifically for him that you haven't been able to do without him?
Well, that is correct, because he is a rather large, monster out there at his size. And, he's been out there, obviously working to get himself back, anxious to, when that day can come and get back on the field and playing for the Pitt Panthers. And he has, number one, still worked very hard. He's in the meeting, very intent, and he's fast. I mean, the guy can run. He can stretch the field. He has, really very good hands, and we really have loved his toughness and his demeanor too. It's just he's not had a chance to participate like we want him to, but again, anxiously waiting for number 7 to get back out there for us.
Tim, from a pass blocking standpoint for this week, is Miami a tough team to identify? How big of a challenge? What's the challenge going to be there this week against Miami from pass blocking?
Like all teams nowadays, everybody has their own individual, what is your defensive package for, blitz and pressure and stunts and who they're trying to get open. And, Miami, most years have got very good athletes. They get off the ball fast. They have a demeanor. They're trying to get to the quarterback and, pressure. And I think our kids have done fairly well in pass pro this year. I think we're rated very for as many times we've thrown it. We've done a nice job of keeping people off the quarterback and sacks at a very low, rate. But that's going to be, from here on out every week, it's got to be so. And, there's challenges in pass pro every week. And, just take care of your own house, no protections, know who's got who, and then just go block them. And I think Coach Borbs and Coach Powell did a very good job this season of keeping us, on the right guy and just not turning people loose. But, yes, we have another challenge this week in the Miami Hurricanes.
Tim, I guess, maybe even going back to August when, your tight ends say go up against like a Patrick Jones in practice. I mean, what does he kind of bring to the table as a pass rusher that might be different than what your tight ends, might otherwise see? Or what makes him unique, I guess?
Well, I think the thing that's been very nice, I guess when you're playing against people like Patrick Jones and Weaver every day in practice, is that, you're playing against, realistically, the best or the definite upper half of our league. So what you're seeing in practice, you're really not going to see anybody better. Maybe the same, but really not better than what you're going to face on Saturday. So it's a great challenge, on a day-to-day basis, because if you can block Patrick Jones, you really ought to be able to block your opponent on Saturday. So that's the one situation I think our kids have appreciated, that, the competition level, is their daily form, and, get a chance to get better because you're blocking somebody who is a senior who's been a dominant football player for his career, that's, playing at a high level. It's just good to challenge those guys on a daily basis.
Tim, obviously 1-point losses are very difficult. How has the team responded after the last couple of weeks early on this week?
Well, I mean, there's no question that, anytime you lose is, miserable. And, we've had, you say tough losses, however you want to describe those games the past 2 weeks. But, this team, this group of individuals, they've had a very good mindset. They have felt the loss very, very hard on the Saturday and the Sunday, but they've been able to at least flip the switch. They've come to practice. It's not like maybe some other teams in, other years or other decades where I've coached where, you lose a game and the kids, motivation is out for 48 hours. Our kids have come back into the building, ready to go, attentive to the next opponent, get focused on the next opponent. Yeah, sure, it hurts. Yes, it was a loss, but they've dealt with it very strongly, very mature, and understand there's another game to be played, and you must get ready for the next game soon because it'll be here soon. And so I have liked being around our players. It makes coaching easy because you don't have to pull teeth to get them to do stuff. They come in here wide alert and ready to go, and it makes coaching fun.
Anything final for Coach Salem? All good. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
All right. Hail to Pitt.
Thank you, Tim.
There he is, the ACC Defensive Lineman of the Week, Patrick Jones. Patrick, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
We'll open it up for questions for Mr. Jones.
Patrick, I'd like to follow up on something that Charlie Partridge said a few minutes ago. He said in the meeting room when you guys get together, you're one of the most serious guys, if not the most serious guy in the room. Well, some guys may be joking around. You're really focused and intent on getting things done. Where did that mindset come from, and how do you follow it through every week?
It's just something that I say, something I just developed just by being here. I just try to focus on my craft every day. So when I come here, I don't take it as like a joke. I take it serious like a job. So that's something I just do and just try to press upon the other people.
Do you believe that's how you need to react, when you start playing this game for real for a paycheck next year?
Yeah, so I believe that's how you should always take the game. Because, if you take the game like that, it's going to help you get a bigger paycheck when it's time to do that.
Patrick, how aware are you of the tandem next door with Watt and Dupree, and do you and Rashad talk about that? Do you learn from that? Are there any things that you take from that?
Oh yeah, I'm very aware of it. I watch them two all the time. Those who I try to get my moves after, specifically TJ Watt. I watch him real close. He's a great ball player, and so is Bud Dupree. So I definitely watch them, just knowing how close they are. If I see them out there at practice, I might sneak out there and try to watch them.
Frequently have you done that, Patrick? Was it in the summer or even like in the fall here? How often do you try and get down there and take a look?
Yes, I have. Every chance I get, I try to go out there and watch them. We got two of the, you could say, the best pass rushers in the NFL right next door. Why wouldn't I try to go watch them? It's a lifetime opportunity.
And then in terms of just, I guess, watching film on other NFL guys, who else are you kind of tuning into this season so far outside of Watt and Dupree?
I tune into Chandler Jones a lot. He's a great ball player. And somebody else I tune into, I would like to say, I watch so many people. I could name like multiple guys, but one dude in particular, Chandler Jones, and of course TJ Watt, the two dudes I watch.
Has this year kind of been what you expected, playing with Rashad, kind of obviously with his injury last year that kind of took away that opportunity, and you guys being able to feed off each other now, both in starting roles?
Yeah, from that aspect, I guess we could say yeah, but of course I expected to win. We didn't expect to have them losses, so you could say yeah, yes or no.
We were just talking to Charlie he was telling us about the line's reaction when Deandre Jules got circled to go in the game the other day. What's it like seeing a young guy like that who's put in some work get an opportunity?
It's amazing. It's amazing, just especially when you see him go out there and when you see him, you turn on the tape and watch him. When his number gets called, it's amazing because that's just what you want. As like an older dude on the D line, you just want to see the young dudes go out there and still be able to compete, because then that's a reflection of you, because ultimately they're looking at you and how you play. So it's just a great feeling.
You got here just before Coach Partridge did, but do you feel like there's a pretty significant difference in the line as it is right now, sort of as you're getting ready to leave it compared to when you got here, in terms of the culture that you built and the ability of young guys to step up and perform when they need to?
Yeah, it's definitely night and day. It's completely different. You did a great job, but it's night and day, completely different, and it's different in a good way, I'll say.
Pat, Rashad said after the game against Boston College that you guys switched to some more power pass rushing techniques and focusing on those type of moves. Was that just a move that you guys saw for that game, or is that maybe a focus that you guys are going to use moving forward, just thinking that might play to your strengths throughout the whole season?
It was something we saw during that game. We made an adjustment on the sideline, but of course it's something we always got in our toolbox. So if we need to do that, then we could do that. We just have an arsenal of moves that we could get to.
How difficult of a challenge this week with King and trying to, with his skill sets and his mobility?
I mean, it's going to be a challenge, just like how every ACC opponent is going to be a challenge. You got to treat every opponent with the utmost respect. And, of course, he a ball player, he a baller, so we're going to have to bring our A game.
Patrick, is it a little bit different when you got a guy back there who, like contain is more important than, say, against, I don't know, like a Devin Leary or someone like that, where King, if he breaks the pocket, obviously he's looking to throw, but if he breaks the pocket, he can really hurt you guys potentially?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we're just going to have to be on. We just got to rush with good eyes, and I'm sure he'll take care of everything else, but we got to keep him contained. And if we do that at the end of the day, I feel like we'll be good.
Patrick, how are your teammates reacting after 2 tough losses?
I mean, it's actually been pretty positive. I mean, we know, of course, there's going to be like a feeling like, dang, we got to pick it up. So that's we're trying to be urgent. I'll say we acting with a sense of urgency. We're just trying to get back on our feet, get back to where we at. And we just know what we got to do this week. And we know how big this week is.
Pat, you guys have talked a lot about the code protocols that you put into place, and Coach Narduzzi's talked a lot about being, having to earn that right to play. Does that change at all when you start to struggle with the team results? Does it make that vigilance a little bit more difficult for guys?
I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, everybody knows it's an opportunity to be out here. A couple months ago, we knew we didn't have this opportunity, and our young guys, I feel like they got a lot of respect for the older guys, so they're not gonna go out there and do no dumb stuff and risk some of the older guys' seasons for us. So I think there's a lot of respect on the team, so that helps a lot, not having to worry about stuff like that.
Patrick, personally, I guess just within your game, do you feel like you're making the improvements that you hope that you would make entering this season, just in terms of, whether it's technique or just, production or whatever?
Yeah, I am. I actually still have a lot of stuff I gotta clean up on. Like, I know I've been getting like a lot of like attention and stuff, but I still know what I gotta do. I'm still leaving a lot of stuff on the field, and I'm still missing a lot of minor details and stuff that I gotta clean up. So that's what I'm working on right now, is cleaning up the minor details.
Patrick, every time we talk to you, you're such a mild-mannered, calm guy when we talk to you. Out in the field, you're screaming and flexing and everything. What's the difference between Patrick Jones, the interview, and Patrick Jones, the guy in the field?
I mean, the interview, this is just me outside of football. Like, I'm just a kick back, calm person, not really trying to be too loud and stuff. I just be having my headphones on, listening to music and stuff, vibing. But when it comes to football, like what y'all said earlier, I take it very serious in the meeting room. So I'll take that on the field too. It's very serious to me. It's more than a game. It's an opportunity to me. So I'm gonna give it my all. I'm gonna let all my emotions loose. I'm just gonna get the game my all.
All good? Well, Patrick, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is Mr. He's unmuted. Chase, thanks for joining us.
How you doing?
Doing well. We'll open it up for questions for Mr. Pine.
Chase, what was kind of the, I guess, the reaction to Servassier getting his first start and then performing the way he did beside you? And what's it like seeing a young guy have that success?
Seeing Servassier do that, we honestly knew he was going to be that type of player downhill. He's very fast, very smart player, smart young player at that. So I definitely didn't have any surprises knowing that he would come in there and contribute to the defense like he did.
Chase, how are the guys reacting to the last two losses?
Play here and there, we could be undefeated. So it's not like we're out here like trying to like harvest everybody to go and do all this stuff. But I feel like we're focused as a team. We're going to come back ready for Miami this week. So we're not really too down on the losses. But like you said, if play here and there, we could be undefeated. So.
Chase, your group has dealt with some injuries. How is the room, and how do you think the depth has performed in dealing with some adverse situations?
I feel like the depth definitely worked. We have young guys coming in for practice, like Bengali, JP. We got Servassier, as you said before. These guys are very smart players, smarter than I was when I came in here. So we definitely have them ready to go. So I definitely am very proud with how the depth has gone this far.
When you say they came in smarter than before, that's got to be on you guys as well. Do you feel like you're laying that foundation for what you want out of a Pitt linebacker?
Coach Harley's definitely that defensive guru. He definitely knows the defense in and out. He's definitely harvesting on us, like you said, teaching the younger guys as soon as they get here. So a big thing was the COVID this year. We got to talk to them early, got to be in the playbook a lot. So it definitely helped.
Jace, when you look at kind of what Patrick and Rashad are doing up front, I mean, is it cool to be able to, sit back on Sundays when you go through the tape and see those guys, kind of feed off of each other? Obviously, they weren't able to do that last year with Rashad out.
Yeah, like you said, last year definitely was a tremendous hit with not having Rashad. But this year, I get to add in on those guys, so it helps a lot. Yeah, I just wish we would have some JT, but you know how it is. But Rashad and Pat definitely one or day two guys, so I'm definitely happy to have them. Rashad definitely another one, but Pat has definitely come along these past 2 weeks to the guy that we definitely knew he would be. So I love having them in front of me.
Ace, what do you need to do as a middle linebacker to contain Derrick King?
Communication. They have a lot of tendencies that we like. So all about communication, just talking to the other linebackers, talking to my D linemen, and just knowing what they're going to do and then setting them back with first and second down. Don't let them get up early with the chains and all that type of thing.
Jay said a similar message with the speed that they'll come at you with.
Yeah, they like the tempo. So that's we worked for it. So it's nothing new.
Not only that, Chase, but their tight ends, Mallory and Brevin Jordan. What have you seen out of those two guys, and kind of what challenges they can present as a tandem?
Those guys, definitely give him credit. Number 9, he's definitely a good player. Big guy, very fast guy. So we'll have some schemes ready for him.
Chase, you guys have done a great job stopping the run all year long. And there's been some challenges in the pass defense the past couple of weeks. What are some of the things that you identify as the Mike linebacker? You call a lot of switches out. You make people on point. What are some of the things that you've seen on tape that you guys are focusing on to maybe help with passing off players and helping against the pass to be different in the next couple of weeks?
If we're being honest, I feel like we just did downhill. We got to help the DBs out by attacking the run, say if it's a play action, we got to get back there and help the DBs out by sacking the quarterback, not giving him any time. I feel like we were a little hesitant some games, so we'll definitely get that patched up.
Chase, you guys had pretty good success keeping Cunningham contained. Is that something you can build from looking forward to going against King?
Yeah. We had a little game plan for Louisville that we wanted to keep him in the pocket, let him throw the ball. This guy from Miami, he can do both, so we'll mix it up for him. We'll have different looks.
Anything final? All good. Well, Chase, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Bye.
Have a good one. And that concludes our guests for today. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll get back at it again tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, RJ.